there's been a lot going on out there recently, I think, with fraud and ethics and how they impact organizations. I think recently, of course, a lot of folks have seen what's going on at Volkswagen.
There seems to be a new story or a new breakthrough every day that's in the news. And what I try to do is understand the culture. And I think that was the main pitfall for Volkswagen, is their culture. They had intent when they made certain things happen within their organization, as well as positioning people with certain boards and directorships so that they were self-monitoring, which we all know as internal auditors, you can't have success if you self-monitor. They also had some significant issues with checking the box, if you will. It seems like a lot of us with our ethics, we check a box once a year and we say, yes, we've done ethics training. I think that may have been what happened here at Volkswagen. They didn't have that culture, they just checked a box.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think even more so, there's been a lot in the news about the tone of the CEO, the guy who ran Volkswagen, and just how he was very domineering, didn't like when people challenged, didn't like when people brought bad news. So he really established a culture that allowed for the kinds of things that happened for them to happen. I mean, basically, the news is saying at this point that there were about 30 people throughout the organization in different roles that knew about the software and kind of what was going on, and that they were doing something fraudulent. But as a group, they were able to rationalize that, that, hey, we're all kind of in this together, and if we don't tell anybody, nobody is none the wiser for the information. So he definitely, it seems, set a very, very strong tone that enabled people to kind of do what they did, and almost expected it.
Mm-hmm. The thing I always look at too is, what do they say when they've been caught? Because the fraudsters don't expect to be caught. So when I was reading the research on this, one of the key leaders said that he apologized for breaking the public trust. Very generic, not very specific. Another major player at Volkswagen came out and said that they were dishonest. Big difference in what you're saying, and it really made me think about one of the engagements that I worked with. It was a company that was based on donations, and the interesting thing with the way that they came out to the public, they hired us as the investigator, and on the same day they hired a public relations firm. So I think that they saw that this was a major event that could have devastating effect not only on their reputation, but the pure existence of their organization.
Yeah, I think that kind of gets a lot of organizations by surprise, and I think they're learning from all the from all the other scandals that have happened with other businesses in this space. Anytime there's a major fraud of high-ranking executive, all of a sudden it becomes a very, very big PR nightmare. It really, not only ruins public trust, but also, kind of shakes the foundation of employees and, kind of what's going on even in communities. A real good example is there was a fraud a couple of years ago, a woman named Sue Sachdeva at Koss Headphones Company in Wisconsin. And Sue, people around the community knew her, and her fraud, it was a major embezzlement. She stole over $34 million from a company that was about $40 million in sales. And what ended up happening as a result of, kind of her fraud, there were a lot of folks that ended up suffering, and it became not only a PR nightmare for the organization, but an entire community, just kind of ended up being kind of brought down because of her actions. There's just so many more ramifications to the kinds of behaviors, kind of breakdowns in ethics and just fraudulent behavior.
And the challenge that we seem to have is everyone knows what bad ethics looks like when we read these stories, but it's hard to train on what does ethics look like. How do you know good behavior from bad behavior? What is the tone at the top? And a lot of the organizations have recently changed that phrase a little bit, and it's not only tone at the top, but it's tone from the top too. Mm-hmm. Really walking the walk and talking the talk. And again, it's more than just that annual training. It's a way of life. It's the culture of that organization.